2017. The former army commander eventually fell out with the party, citing irreconcilable differences. Major General Mugisha Muntu has since formed the new party, which the Electoral Commission registered. On the spot tonight, to tell us about his next political move is Major General Gregory Mugisha Muntu himself. General Muntu, thank you very much for honoring our invitation, and a warm welcome to you.
Pleasure is mine.
You're on the spot tonight, and by that I mean the national spotlight is on you this evening. People would want to hear from you, and of course I'll be asking questions considering the undertakings you have. General Muntu, as we move to the 2021 general elections, political battle lines have been drawn. General Muntu, why are you generous? I mean, political heavyweights in your party.
Yeah, we have got everybody who has got their hands on the task at hand is a political general as far as I'm concerned. In the end, it's going to be a combination of efforts, right from the grassroots until the top, and every hand counts.
You know, is your leadership style, with all respect, suited for politics, and for that matter, Ugandan politics?
Yeah. I believe actually that what we are doing is a component part of the solution that we're going to have in this country.
General, Ugandan politics, or I suppose politics anywhere, require visibility. You have to project yourself with boldness, you know, to show that you are in charge. But clearly, some of those virtues are deficit. We see a deficit of those virtues in.
Well, I hear that argument a lot. But I think the passage of time will prove which strategy is right and which is wrong. We believe that what we are doing is correct, because we believe in building institutions. In this particular case, we are going to focus a lot on how to build the alliance to become a dominant factor in bringing solutions to the challenging problems that we've had for the last 56 years. And that, unfortunately, is maybe an area where we don't have an agreement in the Ugandan society. There are many people who want quick solutions. There are many people who are looking at individuals. Yes, individuals are an important factor in solutions that are applied to any situation. But I also believe that individuals need to belong to organized groups, in this particular case like a political party. We see a political party as a vehicle, either singularly or working with other political groupings or even with individuals. That becomes a vehicle where people who are like-minded, who share the same values, who subscribe the same principles, who've got agree on the same methods, that when they come together, much as they're individuals, that they can create a force that nobody can withstand. That's what we keep working on.
Yeah, but
does it work immediately?
That's the story you have sold to many Ugandans. And your critics say, you know, they don't see it, you know, materializing in anything. Because seeing is believing, General Muntu. Yes. They want to see that boldness. They want to see that charisma. They want to see that projection of power, of purpose.
No, you know, we cannot go according to what people want. We do things according to our own analysis. If we think the analysis we've made of the situation prevailing in the country, and we think that the solutions that we have designed are the appropriate solutions, we stick to that. Now, if you are right and actually the solutions that you design do work, then they will work. Now, at the point when they work, then there won't be any contestation. But before they work, I completely agree why people would say, that won't work. But see, if you follow what people say, unless you are not convinced in what you are doing, but we are convinced, we believe it will work. So it requires patience on our side. Other people may be impatient, but that wouldn't deter us from what we are doing. If we are wrong, even that will be proven by the passage of time.
Listen to what I have heard ever since we made the promotion of this show that you'll be coming for this discussion. They say Gen Muntu, he's a good man, but he is not suited for the rough and tumble of the Ugandan politics.
But what kind of politics do they want? I suspect a big number of the Ugandan people want to see politics based on certain values, certain principles, most of which are transparency in the management of national resources, equality before the law, justice, fairness, good governance principles being a bedrock on the basis of which any regime operates or any government operates. Now, to do that, to establish that, there must be a set of people, first, who believe in those values, two, who act on the basis of such values. Now, the temptation is that if you feel so pressured by what people want, and then you change who you are to suit what people think, the danger is that you will become exactly what you've been trying to fight against. And when you become that, even if you take power, yes, there will be new faces, but the culture will remain the same. So we cannot fall into that temptation. That's one. Because we will not become what we are not. We will not want to do things, even if it meant that's the only way you can take power. We wouldn't do that. However, and that's the most important thing that I look at, we believe we've made the correct analysis, looking at the situation as it is. We believe the methods we are using are going to become a solution to the problems that we do have. And therefore, we will not sway from what we believe in. We'll keep doing it until actually people get to see that it works, and then the debate will cease because they would have seen the outcomes of the things that we are doing.
Let me look back at your helm when you are in charge of FDC as party president. With all that party machinery, I think Dr. Kiza Besigye handed you over almost 60 members of parliament.
No.
Yes, but well,
there were 40.
Yes, but you returned how many? And you're using this kind of modus operandi. You returned a few, and yet you're supposed to have advanced. In other words, the party lost the numbers, the vibrancy, under your watch.
Well, I wouldn't mind about that, because I don't think that it was even a problem of any particular person in leadership, even if it had been anybody else.
But there's an indictment on your leadership style.
I have no problem with that, because I clearly understand the reasons why we slowed down. We spent more time engaging in fighting than doing anything else. Let me tell you, even if it is the strongest party, even if it had 80% of the members of parliament, if you are involved in internal fights and you are not able to resolve them, you'll bleed to death. Fortunately now that we really separated, which to me I think is the best thing that could have happened, FDC can grow, it can build itself along what it believes in. We are starting from scratch, and we are going to build around what we believe in. And devoid of those internal struggles that diverted our attention from doing everything that was required to be done, it releases us So we can focus resources
here
and
is
effort.
a leader who was bedeviled by internal struggles in the party.
Yes.
And what makes you think that with your party now,
yes,
that you won't have internal squabbles, let alone national issues to deal with? Because when you get out of the party, the problems are even bigger.
Now we believe,
more complex.
we believe in the same strategy in the NT. FDC believes in the same strategy. So I don't see where the quarrels would come from. Yes, of course there would be differences of opinion. That's the other area where we want to focus on as the NT, which I believe every other party should focus on. Because when you look at our history from 1962 until now, you can clearly see that the political class has largely had a problem of having skills in conflict management, conflict resolution. That's one area where I believe all parties need to concentrate on. Because indeed, as you are saying, when you're a party and you are running government, there are going to be so many sources of conflict from different factors. So if you don't develop the skills for a significant number of the political leaders within that party to be able to manage whatever challenges you meet, whatever conflicts could arise, then we could still go through more cycles
that is exactly what is likely to happen. Because you, General Muntu, with all respect, you're not running a military spiring in Imbuya. You're running a political party.
Absolutely.
And squabbles are going to come.
Yep.
You know, unlike in the military, you know, your strategies are executed using maybe commands. But this is going to be different.
You know, when I was managing FDC for 5 years, there are many people who didn't know what was happening internally. Because at least when it comes to that area, I think to a large extent I've got capabilities to manage very, very tough situations. And the 5 years I went through were very, very tough. And we managed to maintain stability.
To your critics, that is the greatest undoing. Yes. Managing your affairs of politics like you are managing a military organization, you know, like a spy ring of sorts, where you're doing things, having your cards on your chest. You need to project yourself. You need some kind of charisma. You need to go out there. People need visibility. People need to hear you so that you can recruit more.
Visibility of what? You as the individual or the organization you are building? Because even there we have differences of opinion. Yes, yes. But to me, I was focusing more on creating stability and cohesion in FDC.
But then what happened?
So that we could project FDC. We reached a point where we found that those internal contradictions could not be resolved.
I hate to bring you examples of FDC, but because they relate to your leadership style, I keep bringing them up.
And I have no problem when you bring them up, and that's what I'm trying to explain. So we reached a point where we found that the only way we could manage that or resolve that conflict was separation. And we were bold enough to separate. Because if we had other options, we could have remained in, fought Honorable Oboy to stand still, and he fails to fulfill whatever he had promised, and then wait for him another round so that we could expose him and say, look, you failed in what you promised. We bring him down and then we take over again. We had that option, but we chose not to take that route because we believe that, look, we have got problems in this country. The country is bleeding. And we believe that the best way forward is all of us build our capabilities around the strategies that we believe in. That's why we actually separated so that Honorable Oboy and the team that he has that believes in defiance can build FDC without being entangled in internal strife. So they build those capabilities. They also take the path of building the new organization, in this case the alliance, around the strategy that we believe in, without having any excuses, because we know that now the majority of the leaders who will be coming into ANT clearly understand the direction we are going to take. We go down, build the party, popularize it, brand it well, make it attractive, in the sense of bringing in good quality leaders, good quality candidates, and also attract resources. And then push it into the party work with other organizations that want to see change in this country so that we can take out this regime.
You know, you have tried that with other political parties, including the Democratic Party that has been here for over 60 years. They have some structures of sorts. People know them. They don't have a visibility issue. But still, what they have pushed, you know, we haven't seen any results come. Your Alliance for National Transformation just was registered the other day.
Yes.
And really, I don't know where you get the audacity to hope that really, I don't know whether even thinking that 2021 is your time, or maybe you have another timeline.
No, of course we have the short term, medium and long term. First we want to build a very firm foundation, the base of which a party can be built, so that generation after generation they are able to participate in the governance of this country. But there's also the short term. 2021 is part of the short term. So even as we build for the long term, we're also focusing on 2021. And that's why we are being, maybe, some people may say slow, but we are systematic. We want to ensure that, one, once we do launch, the launching day itself, we'll be able to project ourselves to the whole country as to what we stand for. And then continue building our image or our identity around what we stand for. Again, that's why we have a bit of a difference with quite a number of other political actors. But there are many political actors who most times focus a lot on Gen Museveni. We don't want to fall into that danger. We want to project the identity of the alliance around what we stand for, around what we want to do. Because Gen Museveni is a passing, you know, he's in power, all right, but it's going to be a time when he's out of power. And the one thing would be, if we try to project ourselves as a party which is simply focused on the removal of Museveni, suppose you get a situation where he ceases to be a factor, what would happen? It means you have to build a new identity in that respect. We don't want to find ourselves in with an identity crisis. So we are going to do whatever we intend to do, whether it is slow, but systematically, deliberately, out of conscious determination of what is necessary to be done at this point in time. So we launch, we brand ourselves, we attract good people for leadership positions, we attract resources, we build grassroots up, and we prepare ourselves as we work with other actors to remove the regime and also ensure that we put this country back on track.
This is something that you wanted to do in December last year.
Yep.
But you didn't.
We follow the law. I mean, we had to wait for the Electoral Commission to register us. There's no way we would do it any other way.
The population of Uganda is largely very young, maybe 30 years and below. What makes you people think that you understand the challenges of the young people? Because really, this is a Bobby Wine generation, and your boat perhaps left a long time ago and reached its destination.
Yep, well, we have no problem with that. I hear quite a number of voices talk about the young generation. It's a legitimate concern. The only thing I would request the youth to focus a lot on, because the youthful age is a very small window. It's not a permanent condition. You transit through youth and then you become old. So if they are going to avoid the mistakes that a number of generations in the past have met with, they need to focus on a number of questions that they need to ask themselves to avoid the pitfalls of those before them that they have fallen into. I know that in 1962, a significant number of leaders were more or less in their youthful age. The late Dr. Milton Obote, I think, was around 35. The late Sekawaka Mutesa was around the same age, around 35. The late Grace Ibingira, the late Kakonge, and a number of those who became ministers around that time were actually below 30. In our time when we came in, many of us were below 35. Actually, a number of us were even below 30. In the 60s, some of those who were youth when they got into government sustained effort on the issues of good governance, on the issues of the values that they stood for. A number of them fell and literally started doing the very things that caused what we're involved in.
I can pick something you're saying there,
So
General Muntu,
the
is that around that age
Yes.
of 30 or late 20s,
Yes,
considering the politics of Uganda,
yes,
that is when people are able to cause change and have people coalesce around them. Because, like, we have taken a mental flight 33 years ago,
yes,
when you came to town as Bush war heroes.
yes,
President Museveni was 42 years.
yes,
His brother, Saleh, I think,
Yes.
was 27.
yes,
Sejusa was 28.
yes,
Besigye was 30 years.
yes,
Rijema was 26. And yourself, sir, you're only 28.
yeah,
Again, you have to look back at that age bracket today.
yes,
In my opinion, and what I see now,
Yes.
it is the age bracket that is going to change and move forward, because you have done your part. You have to wake up and smell the coffee that your part is done.
That's the whole point. So why did we fail? If it's just a question of age, why did the group of the late Ibinjira, the late Obote, who were in the youthful stage, why did they fail?
Well, but they secured independence for Uganda.
Why did we
Didn't
fail?
they?
Why did we fail? Ourselves, because we were also youthful. It means that there must be other factors beyond age that are critical. So those are the factors that we need to look at. And therefore the youth of this generation need to learn from that to know that it's not only age, that there are also other factors that are necessary for you if you're going to apply them to changing a situation for the good of the country.
I bring that out, General Muntu, because,
Yes. Because I
hear
don't
a
think-
narrative
Yes,
that young people saying it's their time.
yes.
In fact,
And we're advising, yes.
In fact,
it's
I've
their
even
time
heard
because
on campaign podiums when they are saying in the local language, "Seba Miaka Jaffe, you are not of our age."
I have no problem with that.
And you have to take care of that tide.
Yes.
Because that tide is likely to sweep you away.
That's why we're advising that, one, the age in which they are is transitory. They're going to transit through it. In a very short period of time, they're going to find themselves in the 50s, in the 60s. So if they want to be the first group that changes the direction of the country in terms of politics, in terms of economic development, what else is needed beyond age? They need to crack that. Because at least the experience we have so far is that it's not only age. Otherwise, if it was only age, then the group of the 62 would have changed this country. If they had done, for example, what Sir Serese Kama did in Botswana, they would have had a firm foundation on the basis of which a country could be governed on good governance principles. If it was just age, then our group would have radically transformed the culture of politics in this country. But we failed. So what does that mean? What are the additional factors that are required on top of age? So they need to investigate that. All of us need to investigate that, because I highly doubt whether we just want change for the sake of it. I believe we want qualitative change across all generations, young and old. I believe we want to see a new condition in this country, where there is justice, where there is fairness, where there is equality before the law, where there is democracy, where there is a firm foundation on the basis of which there can be sustainable economic development, where there is transparency in the manner in which government affairs are run. Those are values, and we subscribe to those values, all of us, regardless of gender, regardless of religion, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of age. So how do we put that in place? We need to analyze and find out what is that has eluded us. And therefore the youth, even those the youth who are going to be participating in the governance, start seeking for that. Now if all of us seek for it and we're able to get it, then we can become a solution to our challenges. If it eludes us and we don't get to know what it is, then yes, we can have even an 18-year-old person taking power. If he or she does not have that which has eluded us all this time, yes, we can have physical change, but we may not have qualitative change.
Some say Uganda has so many parties, and a new party is not necessarily the solution. Even some of those parties actually speak about those virtues and values, for example, of justice, of truth, and things like that.
Well, I hear that. I know that many people are disenchanted about parties. I don't think the problem is parties. I think the problem is the actors. You know, this country has been messed up. So are we going to do away with the government? This is the government which has been at the core of the problems in this country. It has never been, the problem has never been government. It has never been the army. It has never been the judiciary. It has never been the parliament. It is the actors within those institutions. So if you want to fix the problems, fix the actors. Because if they are good actors in any of those institutions, including the political parties, then they would carry out their role well. So if you say that the political parties are no longer a solution, why? Because of the way they have been managed in the last 56 years. And therefore you say parties have a problem, and you don't understand that the cause of the problem of the parties is because of the political actors. So even in their own individual capacities, if they don't have the capabilities or the strength inbuilt within the value system that they want to establish, if they don't have that, even as individuals, I can tell you, we wouldn't be a solution, even as individuals. So you want to fix the institutions, fix the human beings who run those institutions.
So in fixing the human beings, you have to come together at some point.
Yes.
Are you in talks with the other forces of change? And what kind of discussions are you having?
We have made it a deliberate effort on our part that we keep on briefing the colleagues, the forces of change. We have briefed at every stage, every critical stage, when we hadn't broken ranks with the FDC, after breaking ranks, even now that we have been registered, or at least we are in the last stages of registration. We keep on briefing the President General of DP, Honorable Mao. We keep briefing Honorable Chaguranyi of the People of Power. We keep on briefing Honorable Sarwa of JEMA. The purpose is for them to know our intentions. Two, to know that much as we are building a political organization, that we want to cooperate with other forces of change so that we can keep working together, first to build trust amongst ourselves. And once we build trust, then we can put in place the mechanisms that can bring us together, but also build the forces, or bring together the forces that we would have established on the ground, and then focus them on resolving the challenges of our country.
So in other words, trust is something that you see is missing now?
Well, we have to work on it, because, I mean, 2011 we fell apart. 2016 we fell apart. And most of us have been actors in that. And two, the culture of politics in our country. It has been having a deficit in terms of values like honesty, like transparency in the way things are done. The methods of politics in this country, it's like the end justifies the means. So at times it creates a very difficult environment within which to operate. However, it's something that we must deal with. We must deal with the situation as it is. Not as
having failed in 2011 under IPC, yes, and 2016 under TDA, you seem to be convinced that this time around you are likely to maybe speak with one voice. Where, yes, do you draw that conviction from?
I would like to believe that we learn from the mistakes of the past. I would like to believe that we are learning. If we don't learn, then we will become casualties of our failure.
Today, you attended a function where DP was uniting with other parties. What do you make of that?
It's a good move for DP, the different tendencies that were in DP, or the different pressure groups that are developed in DP, for them to come together. As a beginning point, it is good, and that's the direction we should all take. Because you see, the stability of the whole is dependent on the stability of the component parts. So if you have 4 groupings or 3, if any of them is unstable, it will create instability in the whole. So it's therefore important that as we work towards coming together, cooperating, they also work on the stability of the component parts. So today's ceremony of DP leaders signing a memorandum of understanding is highly recommendable. It's highly commendable.
So, do you see yourself, Gen Muntu, with the ANT, if you join the other parties, are you ready? For example, if they don't choose you, because in most likely event that they don't, because they may consider they've been around for some time, they have worked maybe for quite some time or even harder. Shall we see Gen Muntu joining maybe the Democratic Party if they chose a candidate and that's the ANT, that will be the candidate you will support?
First, of course, before we get to the level or the time when we start working on who leads the cooperation, for those of us who are in the alliance, we are literally an infant where we are at. So we intend to invest a significant amount of time, at least in this year and maybe a part of next year, to concentrate on building the capacities of the organization. Because even when you go into a broad coalition, you need to take in or contribute strength. And therefore, we're going to concentrate a lot in that, even as we work towards cooperation at the higher level. But history shows that we are people who are flexible, that we focus a lot more
but surely they will look at you as an infant, like you have said, when it comes to politics of Uganda. You are taking baby steps. Yes. We don't expect you to be jostling with the mature politicians who have been around for 60 years. You're really an infant in the politics of Uganda as Alliance for National Transformation.
What we want to do is build strength. And the thing we want to take into the coalition is strength. 1 year down the road, whatever we'll have built is what we'll take in. And therefore, I'd like also to believe that the other colleagues, wherever they are, whatever methods they use, will also concentrate on building capabilities. Because the strength of the coalition is going to be largely dependent on the strength of the component parts. It is not just the cooperation that brings that strength. Part of it, yes. But the organizational capabilities of the different groups is very, very critical. If we simply cooperate at the top, when we've not built the necessary infrastructure, we've not put in place the environment that enables us to put together or manage the complexities of putting together a coalition, it will not help us a lot. So a lot of time and effort must therefore be invested in creating capabilities of the component parts. So these capabilities are brought together, and then we can focus them on how to challenge the regime and overwhelm it.
How do you avoid for the other people to look at your component of the alliance as a weak link because of probably lack of individuals of proven performance, apart from yourself, other individuals of proven performance in the politics of Uganda, because they can actually say this one is still taking baby steps, is the weak link?
Well, I think there's going to be a time when we'll sit down and do analysis of the strength and capabilities that are going to be brought together. And I think at that point it would be legitimate for us to put in on a weighing scale. I know that this organization has such capabilities, and the other one has such capabilities. There are weaknesses in this organization. The capabilities of this one can be brought to complement the weaknesses of that organization. I have no problem, because we need to do proper analysis and not to depend on speculation for our planning purposes. and for purpose of laying the correct strategies. So I believe when we get to the point when we will be working on that, we'll have to be realistic, we'll have to be honest with each other, and know what does it take for us to solve that problem. Which organization has that capability? And we must be able to look at ourselves in the mirror. If there are certain capabilities we don't have, we will be honest with the other colleagues and say we don't have this capability. And if we have a certain strength somewhere, we'll also be able to indicate where we have capabilities. And I believe that's how it will be all round.
Do you think that you, Gen Muntu, have been largely misunderstood? Because when I was reading about your profile, I heard during the Bush War times, I think you were injured and then they brought you into Kampala to treat you. You are a top rebel, but in Kampala, I'm told the government of Dr. Milton Obote say, do not touch the son of Mr. Montoya, and maybe you are treated and taken back to the bush, and then your colleagues are saying, how can you go and the regime doesn't touch you? When you are leading FDC, people think that, look, even when people are marching on the streets of Kampala, the soldiers, some of them are even saluting you, yet the others are being tear gassed. You know, there's that element of General Muntu who seems to be, you know, all the times people suspecting you. That keeps following you up.
Maybe I do things which are unusual. Which people don't expect. I don't know, but it doesn't bother me at all. But let me do some correction. In 1981, when I was shot and I was brought to hospital, actually I was being treated at Seka Hospital. There's a doctor, it's called Dr. Namara. He used to operate from that hospital, and a number of patients who were shot in the bush would be brought in there. So I was managed there for 1 month, but for the whole period that I was there, definitely the regime here never knew. But one thing I knew when I was in the bush, if I had reached a point and said, why? I can't, nobody should survive in these conditions, and I had opted to look for a way, for example, and reach the late Dr. Milton Obote, I knew I wouldn't be harmed. I knew that for sure. But I also had a cause that I was fighting for. And that's why even when I was fully treated, I went back. But the conditions which I had left, it was clear in my mind that we were not about to take power. Because by the time I was brought to hospital, we had less than 100 guns. We were less than 200 people. So I knew that definitely that it was going to take us quite some time for us to build the capabilities to be able to overwhelm the regime. The regime never knew that I was in Kampala. So I would like to make a correction on that.
Okay, yeah. General Muntu, we are going to take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Kamara. My guest tonight is the retired Major General Mugisha Muntu. In the last election, 2016, of course, there was a petition, and the presidential election petition, and the Supreme Court gave some recommendations that were supposed to be implemented by government so that we can have a free and fair elections. And those recommendations were actually never implemented. Yeah. Do you think, and quite a number of them, do you think without the implementation of these recommendations, we are going to have a free and fair election, or you are preparing to do something that is really dead on arrival?
Well, one, it wasn't the first time. I think since 2001, the courts themselves have made certain recommendations. The political parties, the civil society, and other concerned citizens have made different proposals in regard to constitutional and electoral law amendments, but nothing has ever been implemented. Of course, largely because we've also yet failed to build the necessary leverage to exert on the regime for them to do so. And we've never gone into any election expecting that it would be free and fair. even when we go into 2021, unless something happens between now and 2021 and the necessary reforms are done, if they are not, we would go into that election, not because we expect that they would be free and fair, but because we would expect that would have built the necessary capabilities to overwhelm the regime in spite of the unleveled ground. You have to organize yourself to do that. I use this example many times. It's like in the army. When you are fighting, you cannot say the terrain should be leveled first. You know, I think it's the same thing in politics, because first you have a dictatorship. You have people who are undemocratic. Unless there's pressure which is exerted on them, they are not going to conduct, to do reforms out of goodwill. So when you go into an election before the electoral reforms are done, you must go there.
But you know,
knowing that you must use the capacity on your side.
You have the NRM
to overwhelm
government,
the regime.
you have the NRM party with their
Yes.
chairman, President Museveni,
Yes.
who has beaten the opposition maybe 4 or 5 times. You know, he almost have a handbook of beating you, so he's going to pull it out and beat you again in 2021 because he knows in his mind, he knows you are beatable and he has a record to show.
My own understanding in this kind of situation we are in, it is no longer so much the strength of General Museveni. We have to work on our own side as the opposition, because the situation is largely in our favor. At a tactical level, Gen Museveni can apply certain strength because he's in charge of government. But from a strategic point of view, he is at his weakest ever. The majority of the people want change, including those who are within the regime itself. So that is an opportunity that we can fully exploit. But there are a number of things that we need to do. And the moment we do them, there's nothing that can stop us from taking power.
The people of Uganda, I suppose you told them the same thing in 2011 and 2016, that they wanted change.
Yes. But there are a number of things that we have not done yet.
You even told them that the person you're campaigning against was at his weakest.
There are a number of things we have not done yet on our side as the opposition, or on the side of those who want change. We have to confront that, and therefore see how we can change our ways, how we can rectify the weaknesses that we have had in the past. Situation is largely in our favor.
Yeah, but you are confronting somebody who has beaten you politically, you may say, without a level ground many times, and he has that record to show for it, and he thinks he's going to pull those whatever tactics he has pulled before to beat you again.
Whatever tactics he uses is so much dependent on what we ourselves do. I don't think it's any longer what Museveni does. It is so much what we ourselves do.
Let me
first, you know, the one thing that I notice on the side of those who want change, largely, is that they have fallen into Gen Museveni's trap. They have reached a point because of the psychological warfare that he mounts, where he has disabled people, for them to reach a point and say there's nothing we can do. The moment your opponent beats you at the level of your thoughts, basically he has already taken you captive. And okay, I find people who are maybe walking in the streets who are falling into that problem. The one thing is to find some of the leaders have also fallen in that problem. There's nothing any human being can achieve on this planet, whether it's in the military, whether it is in politics, whether it is in business, or wherever you are, in sports. If you don't believe that you can overcome whatever challenges you are faced with, that's where you begin. That's where victory starts from. But we will have to do a number of things on our own side. Many things we'll have to do.
You see, if an individual is in power for that long, and he seems to be running scared, and he has the structures, he is trying now to ring-fence his own position, he's sort of in overdrive. For you, you have not even started to drive. Really, that person seems to be focused on what he wants to get.
No. I know, of course, he does things, you know, all the time, 24/7. I can see all the moves that he's making, largely because he's also quite scared. There's no doubt about that. And I don't think we should spend a lot more time on what he's doing. Let me repeat that. We should spend a lot more time on what we intend to do, on how to do it. and therefore also building the capabilities to enable us achieve what we want to achieve. I think we spend too much time on him. We should be spending more time on ourselves. It will be something that I read, you know. Abraham Lincoln, he was the president of the United States of America. He said that if he is given 8 hours to cut down a huge tree, that he would spend 6 hours in sharpening the axe and use 2 in felling the tree. You can't keep looking at the tree. You must work on the tools that are going to enable you to bring down the tree. And if you look at the tree and it's so huge and you are scared and say, what will happen here? Or even in other cases, if you get that axe and you don't sharpen it, you don't spend time sharpening it, and you start trying to cut down the tree, you're going to get problems. You're going to keep hitting that axe on that tree. The 8 hours will pass, your arms are paining, you've not even gone halfway cutting into it. We have to focus on what we should be doing. There are a number of things. I'm not going to go on this set and talk about them. We will have to go behind closed doors, one, in the political organizations themselves singularly, and then as we work together. If Gen Mugisha was to take 2021, I have to repeat this, I keep saying it, it will not be because of his strength. It will be because of our organizational weaknesses.
And that has always been the case in the previous one. But okay,
at some point, not the case. But at other points, yes.
Dr. Besigye says the opposition should work towards not having President Museveni on the ballot in 2021. Do you agree with him?
Well, I respect leaders, even when they make pronouncements, because I always believe that leaders sit down and do a deep analysis of whatever challenges they are facing, and even in designing solutions to them, that they have paid attention to them. So I'd like to believe that when leaders speak, that they have put thought behind what they have said. So I don't want to contest any position which has been taken by any of the other leaders. So they have to apply effort and resources in fulfilling what they state. And you know, suppose you think it won't work, and then it works. But see, if it's not work, it will not work. That resolves the problem. So you don't engage in speculation, you don't engage in debate. You just wait for the time.
That is Gen Muntu being modest at your best level of humility, but you really have a side on this.
No, because for example, there are things we believe in, right? And there are people who contest them, but we believe in them so deeply because we spend a lot of time thinking about them, in doing, knowing that once we apply them, that we will succeed. And we would like anybody to respect us in whatever we are doing, and then give us time to see whether it works or it doesn't work. Because, I mean, I would most of those who are in the opposition. Because if I respect what other leaders are doing, what other organizations are doing, and they also respect what we are doing, then we won't engage in debates which cause strife amongst us and therefore create weakness. And yet what we want is strength. So if each group concentrates on what it can do best and it builds capabilities, and then we bring these capabilities together, then it will be that strength that we can use to overwhelm this regime.
Many are saying really that the ground is not leveled for elections due to rigging, intimidation, using the army, bribery, using state resources. If, like they say, that the NRM is fused with the state, how do you go about it?
Well, you see the weaknesses which they are suffering themselves. I mean, look at the decisions they made in Chankwanzi. 400 MPs, I think. That's supposed to be the cream of leadership in a country. Okay, they say we should not be questioning what they do as an organization. Yes, and maybe legitimately so. But at the same time, the question is, do you expect a party which has no internal democracy to build a country based on democratic principles? You can't, because you would have no problem in them, in Museveni becoming their flag bearer. But at least there need to be a transparent internal process that you would undergo. For example, have a free and fair election in terms of a secret ballot, and people who want to contend. And if that was happening all the time, then we would have the comfort of knowing that this party, in spite of returning someone who we may disagree with, but they believe in him or her, and they vote for him or her. But if they don't have that internal process, it's a concern to us. Because at the end of the day, they cannot give what they don't have. So if you have 400 members of parliament who can't do that kind of analysis, and they are in the cream of our society, then you know we have a problem in the country.
Gen Muntu, we are going to take a break. When we come back, I will be opening the line so that you too can be a part of this discussion. I will also be asking Gen Muntu on how the alliance is going to be, selling itself to the people, considering that a few weeks ago when FDC tried to move to Soroti and other places, there were tear gas and the meeting could not go on. We'll be right back.
We are fresh and clean, smart and wise, we want to.
Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest tonight is retired Major General Mugisha Muntu, the leader of the Alliance for National Transformation. I'll be taking calls. You can see the numbers on your screen. So call us and please be precise. Ask a question that we may be having, and so that we can have many people also ask General Muntu the question that they may be having. I have a call online, and let me go straight to that caller. Hello.
Good evening, Kamara. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What's your name, sir, and where are you calling from?
I'm called Nyambi Vienna, calling in from Munyonyi. My greetings to General Muntu.
Greetings.
My greetings to General Muntu. Now, as Ugandans who are seeking for change, we are very happy about what General Muntu and the rest of the people who have been at Hotel Africana have done. That's trying to get together, trying to unite the forces of change. But still, as Ugandans, we would like to request General Muntu and the rest of the team, including Honorable Chagulanyi, not to exclude Kano Besigye, as Kano Besigye has been the pillar of fighting the dictatorship in Uganda. They should try all avenues to try and persuade him into joining the unity, so that by 2021 a formidable force is formed against only one opponent, Yoweri Museveni Kaguta.
But Richard, if I may ask, are you suggesting that Kano Besigye has been closed out? They have not allowed him to come in?
Yes. Currently, I'm affiliated to People Power. But since Kano Besigye has been a strong pillar in fighting the dictatorship, I don't think that it will be viable for him to be left out in the fight against facing Museveni come 2021. We need him, and I should say we need Dr. Besigye more than we have been needing him.
Yeah, you subscribe to the people power, because I just want clarity from you, Richard, because when you say that he shouldn't be left out, who is leaving him out?
Excuse me? Come again?
I want some clarity when you say that he shouldn't be left out. Who is planning or who is working towards leaving him out?
It's either way. Either himself, he's avoiding to be part of the unity, or some elements within some elements in the meeting who have sat are trying to leave him out. That's what happened.
All right.
That should not degrade us from the real unity we need to chase out Museveni. Museveni is our problem.
Okay, thank you.
The worrying.
Richard, thank you very much, Richard. Thank you. Well, maybe General Muntu will have to respond to that, but let me take another caller online. Hello.
Hello. I'm called Arafat.
Yes, Arafat, where are you calling from? And please go straight to your question or comment.
I'm calling from Masana.
All right.
As politics in Uganda is, we need Dr. Besigye as for now. We need Dr. Besigye. Dr. Besigye should not be left away from this struggle.
Okay.
We need him more. That is my point.
Okay, Arafat, I just want to know, when you say he shouldn't be left away, who is leaving him out?
Either basically himself,
Okay.
going aside, or the one organizing to unite,
Okay.
leaving him away.
All right. Thank you very much, Arafat. Okay. Maybe let me pick another call online so that General Muntu can respond some of your. Yes. Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Anson, and I'm calling from Musova.
All right. You're on the air, Anson.
Now, for me, there is something which keeps confusing me.
Yes.
I've heard it from the opposition over and over, and probably General Muntu can help me out here. I hear people crying every day and saying that the opposition must have a united force with one candidate to face Museveni, and scientifically I've not understood how that helps. In Uganda, our voting system will use what we call absolute majority, where a winner must get 50% and one extra vote. And Museveni has been attaining that in whichever way, probably stealing it or any way, but he has been attaining that. That every time, even if you had put together all the votes of opposition, they have never even reached 45%. Now, this analogy of saying that in case everybody in the opposition go together behind one person, they beat Museveni. Like, for example, last time, if they were together and you put them together, probably the CJ had like 36%. When you add the others, they could have made something like 39%. You know, the reason why I'm so much opposed to this is the ruckus that it causes every time. Because what has been breaking down the opposition is every time they try to get together to choose one person to represent them, it leads to war. And for me, it is a stupid and unnecessary war. Because if you want to beat Museveni, this is what I could do. And I'm a social analyst, a political analyst, and I'm a lecturer, and I'm a statistician. So now this is what I could advise. Museveni gives you only 2 to 3 months to campaign after him campaigning for almost 6 years. Now, you cannot go alone and be one person on one front and you cover the whole of Uganda with around more than 100 districts. The only solution you have is to have like 20 people standing against him. For you come together and find a memorandum of accepting and understanding each other, you can come up with one manifesto which all of you use. You can even put up a poster with 20 people, and you keep telling everybody wherever you go that for us we are the same people. Whoever you want to vote, vote. If you vote Mr. Muntu, vote Chagulanyi, vote Besigye, we are the same people. The intention is to give 50% on the first round, because Ugandans must see Museveni being beaten for the first time. If you beat him in the first round, I promise you, you beat him in the second round. Whoever faces him when he remains alone with him, because it is a sign that he can be beaten. So all of these records, probably General Muntu can help me to show me what all these things mean. Why is it very necessary that one person must face Museveni?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, probably you've given him some ideas and other people who believe like him. So let me try to take 1 or 2 more, and then General will respond and conclude.
So let me
Hello.
try to take 1 or 2 more, and then.
Okay. This one has the
This
same.
is Chabucho from Old Kampala.
All right, go right ahead, sir. Unfortunately, you left your volume so high, so it's sending an echo. How I wish you had done like other people earlier, that they were not sending that echo to us. So let me try to take another call online. Hello. Okay, I think that's the same story again. So anyway, we could respond to some of these.
One on strategy. My own view is, as long as we agree that whatever is required, we are ready to subscribe to whatever we find that is the best solution
Yes.
to the challenges of the time during elections. Because my own understanding is that we would first have to do analysis at that point in time. And if we do analysis of the situation on the ground, and therefore it enables us to design the most appropriate response. If the most appropriate response is to have one candidate, then all of us are ready to go behind one candidate. But if the response, the most appropriate response would be different, for example, in fielding in a strategic way, 2 or 3, for purpose of denying Gen 7, for example, 50%, and therefore you go into a rerun, you can also decide to opt for that. However, at times people get fixed to only one thing. And to me, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is for us to agree that we are ready to do whatever we find that will be the best solution at that point in time. Because the reality now may not necessarily be the reality 1 year down the road. So I don't think that it is even important for us to start containing around which works, which doesn't work now. We need to do that when we get there. What we have to do now is build the necessary capabilities and also have the willingness and the resolve and the commitment to do whatever we find is necessary then. If it's one candidate, we go behind that. If it's something different, we do whatever else is different. So therefore, it's the commitment and the readiness to do whatever is necessary. To me, that's the way I look at it. Now, on the issue of Dr. Kizza Besigye being left out, I look at this differently myself. I'm looking at it on the question of strategy. And I really don't think we as the opposition should be dragged into contestation and quarreling and all that. Because one, right now, Dr. Kizza Besigye and FDC are focused on taking power before 2021. They have indicated so. I believe they are building the capabilities for doing that. Now, if they're able to pull off that before 2021, then 2021 would not even be a headache for us. It means that we'll be looking at a different situation. We'd have now to discuss and see the way forward. If they are not able to do that, then the rest of the groupings that believe in building capabilities now in how to take Gen 7 out in 2021 in case he's still in power. Because at that time, maybe FDC would have taken him out. Or because of totally different occurrences, maybe he would not be in power. It doesn't necessarily have to be a political move. So the question here is, if FDC is following a different strategy, how will you combine these strategies now? Some are focusing on removing Gen 7 before 2021. Others are focusing on building their capabilities to take him out in the election of 2021 in case he's still there. So therefore, people should not be anxious and think that anybody is leaving anybody else out. No. If by 2021 Gen 7 is still around, then FDC will have to reorganize itself, reassess the situation, and therefore take a new direction. And when it gets to that, then we'll have to discuss whatever new strategy they would have adopted then.
Okay, if what happened in Kaliro and Soroti a couple of days ago is really a point at where we're headed, where FDC could not maybe meet their people and
of course it's
how is the alliance prepared to avoid such issues?
Because it's unfortunate. We condemn it in the times when the police has used high-handed methods to stop those kinds of meetings. But of course, at the same time, there are a number of meetings which have been allowed. And then there are others which have been broken up. So I cannot understand why. Why in a number of times, because I know they have been conducting meetings all over the country. I know even as we speak, I think maybe the other day they were in a number of regions. Mm-hmm. Now, a number of them succeeded, but the others which were broken up. So we will need to have an understanding. Why are some broken up and others not broken up? I don't know. Until we get details, I don't think I would be able to make judgment.
All right. Do you think now, Gen Muntu, this is your time? Because this is your time to take leadership, 2021. This is your time.
It's a time for change. And to me, we are flexible in the alliance. We are going to build strength and capabilities.
But
like
the alliance, of course,
about.
will be you'll be seeking, you know, party presidency as a candidate for that.
We don't have a president. We have a chairman of a party.
But will you be seeking?
We also have a candidate, and we're also going.
Will you be seeking the candidate?
We are going to put internal mechanisms to ensure that when the flag bearership comes up, that those who would want to contest for it would contest.
Would that also mean that General Muntu will be running to be a flag bearer of the alliance?
Another thing that we are going to avoid, particularly myself, is not to get involved in that question at this point in time. Because first, we have a very short time. Two, we want to concentrate all our resources, all our effort, all our thoughts in building the necessary capabilities. So that when we get a flag bearer, even if that flag bearer was to be the one who leads the coalition, that we have got capability to put behind him or her. Now, the moment we engage in who the candidate is going to be, now, knowing how these questions create a lot of sensitivity and debate, it can remove our focus on the things that we need to do. I have indicated before, you can hold the flag, but if there are no capabilities behind you, you remain holding that flag. You know?
Okay.
And therefore, we cannot afford at this point in time to put the cart before the horse. Other formations, yes, because some are old enough, they have had enough time to organize themselves, and we can understand the legitimate reasons why they have to do the necessary announcements.
Thank you.
We are not yet, and therefore, I hope that nobody is going to be expecting us to start saying who the candidate is going to be. We're going to focus a lot more on how to build our capabilities.
General Muntu, give us your concluding remark tonight. Thank you very much for having me.
First, we'd like to thank you for hosting us as NTV. We're going to invite you when we are launching. We will be able to roll out our positions on the number of things that we will need to do, our programs of activities. Thereafter, we're going to also launch the party platform, and we'll be calling, out for Ugandans, because we need a hand in many, many ways from all sections of society, those who want change. And therefore, we'd like to thank those who have been listening. We'll be announcing when we will do a launch at some point down the road. And we'd like to thank people who are supporting us in different ways. And we thank God that we're on the right track.
Thank you very much, retired Major General Mugisha Muntu, chairman of the...
No, I'm not the chairman.
I thought you were the chairman.
No. I'm one of the coordinators.
Coordinators of Alliance for National Transformation. Thank you very much for having honored our invitation. You've just heard yourself from him, speaking with the precision of a general, and let's wait and see what is going to come out of what they are planning to do for Uganda. Good night and God bless Uganda.